Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Retrial. If you're new here, my name is Elle, the counsel, and I am the CEO and founder of the Counsel Collection, which Retrial is powered by. So we have a very, very, very special guest on, and I'm so excited for you guys to meet her. Tell folks about yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chè Thomas. I am a Howard Law graduate, and I currently work for a tech company in their contracts department.
Nice. Where are you from?
Originally from Cleveland, Ohio, but I now am located in Atlanta, Georgia.
Nice. And we're going to talk about how you landed in Atlanta a little too.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start from way back. How did you know you wanted to be a lawyer, or when did you know?
Whew. I think I knew I wanted to be an attorney when I was in middle school or high school. I think I really knew in high school because I had a distant cousin who went to law school as well. And I kind of saw her journey a little bit. And I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I want to do. It was either go to law school or go to get my doctorate degree to become a doctor to go to medical school. And once I became like a junior in high school, I want to say, I just knew I didn't want to be in a hospital. I didn't want to deal with blood or have patients and things like that. And so I just kind of leaned more towards the law.
Same actually.
Yeah, I can't be in scrubs all day. I don't like the smell of hospitals. It was just like, no.
Yeah, I had a very brief pipe dream of either being a fashion designer or potentially being a doctor until I realized I don't do bodily fluids well. So
Mhm,
yeah, it's a lot of
mhm.
touching people, a lot of people touching me, and I
And I
don't.
compared like the years after undergrad that you will have to complete. And I was like, law school is way shorter.
And it's a little less working for free or damn
Mhm.
near free, and I don't believe in
Yeah.
working. So,
So yeah, that's how I came to this decision.
okay. So you are still technically, so since this is a distant cousin, you're still technically the first lawyer in your family, right?
I am, yes.
And we're going to get into, how it's both a blessing and a burden in some
Yes, it
ways.
can
So,
be. Yeah. A gift
yeah,
and a curse, but I love it.
I do. So, okay, let's go back to undergrad. How was that process in applying to law school, the LSAT? What'd you do to prepare for that?
So my story is very, very different. I never take the normal route to do anything. I always take the wrong road, but I still get to the same goal. So in undergrad, I cheered for 2 years. I was a cheerleader for my undergrad, and then my junior year, I did not cheer anymore. Um, my and that's when I really started thinking about law school and where I wanted to go and really getting serious about like what was after undergrad. And
Mhm.
so my senior year and that fall, well, before the senior year, at the end of my junior year, I applied to like a law program. It was at Rutgers University in New Jersey in the Camden campus.
Mhm.
And so I did that over the summer between my junior and my senior year. And then my senior year, that fall, I actually studied abroad and I went to Nairobi, Kenya. I
Mhm.
went to the university, it's called USIU, and it's like an international exchange program, basically. And so that fall is when I actually sat and took the LSAT for the first time, and I took it in Africa. So, yeah. So the first time I took the LSAT was in Africa. I really didn't even know how to study. I was just diving in, like fresh phase, like no experience at all. Took it the first time there, and then I took it one more time before I actually applied for law school. And the second time I took it was back here in the States. And so that was like my journey, but it was definitely hard studying for it because like I said, I was studying abroad. So while my roommate and my other friends are like going out to the club and they're hanging out and like exploring Africa and really seeing what it's about, I'm like studying or I'm going to bed early so that I can study early on Saturday morning. And I had like a whole schedule. But I did have my fun, while there. But so yeah, that's kind of how I was introduced to the LSAT.
Oof, the LSAT was evil, is
it was
evil.
it was bad, but I was grateful to have done the law program that previous summer because I was able to get LSAT prep books and, all of those materials while I was on campus doing the law program.
Yeah, that's a perk.
Hmm.
I wish that I had kind of done something like that and had those resources a little more available.
Definitely. I don't even remember how I was introduced to it. I think I may have overheard or someone may have mentioned it and I just had applied. I was actually denied at first because I was too much of a senior in undergrad. So basically, they chose sophomores and juniors to do this summer law program. I was already going into my senior year, but someone had dropped out last minute and they had just called me literally the weekend before that. I was literally at work, like at the gas station working my summer job. And they were like, hey, like if you want a spot, you can come next weekend. You have to be here by Thursday. We have a room for you. And I was just like, absolutely. And
Yeah.
so that program really opened me up to what it would be like to be an attorney. I mean, banquets, we were in Philadelphia a lot, seeing a lot of people being like inducted into everything and going to court and night dinners and everything. It was just a lot, but it was definitely worth it and a great experience.
Yeah,
I loved
that sounds awesome.
it.
I really do wish I'd done something like
I
that.
think they like stopped the program. I'm not sure if it was because of funding or whatever the case may be, but yeah, it was a great time.
In this economy, it probably was because of funding. Note to self, edit that out.
Delete that, delete that, delete that.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a few of those moments because I have a very smart mouth.
That's so funny. I love when I'm listening to a podcast or watching something, they be like, delete that, but they clearly didn't delete it.
That might also be a thing because I don't let my assistant edit any of the episodes. I'll only let her edit like
Oh.
social clips.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. I think I just have this. I have a hard time delegating.
Yeah, same. Control.
Yeah, I have a
And
very
perfectionism as well. You want it the way you want it. But that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. It gets done how you want, and that's when you're happy. Remember
exactly,
that works?
exactly. So,
Okay.
how many law schools did you apply to?
Whew. All right. I want to say I applied to about 5 or 7, 5 to 7. I know for sure I applied to Georgia State because that's why I moved to Atlanta post undergrad. I moved here and took a gap year because I wanted to use the in-state tuition, which, okay, not having any guidance, I didn't know that law schools could charge you in-state and out-of-state tuition,
Mhm.
right? So when I started looking at law schools and I really wanted to go to Georgia State Law because I always wanted to do entertainment law, and I knew Atlanta was like the hub for Black entertainment and all of that opportunity. Um, I looked at Georgia State and they were like, "Oh, well, this is in-state tuition, this is out-of-state tuition." I just finished paying 4 years of out-of-state tuition. So my plan was to move to Atlanta, stay here for a year and work and gain that what is it? In-state tuition, I guess,
Yes.
and then apply so to take a gap year. So that was the plan, and that's what I did. However, applied to Georgia State, applied to Atlanta John Marshall, I applied to I think NYU, I think I applied to UCLA. I applied to places where I knew I could do entertainment law. My godfather, he begged me and begged me and begged me to apply to Howard Law. I never wanted to apply. I was not going to apply for Howard Law. He called me 2 days before the deadline to apply to Howard Law, Howard University School of Law, excuse me. And so that was one of the last schools. I know I did two other ones that were just kind of like
Safe.
safety. I don't know if Mercer has a school, but like
Yes.
UGA or something. I don't know, one of like University of Georgia, something like that. And
Yeah.
then I don't know, some other school. Only got accepted to two,
Okay.
which was devastating. And I was so depressed because it was a 180 from my undergrad experience where I applied to, I don't know, 10, 12 colleges and I got accepted into every single last one of them. And so for law school, it's like, y'all don't like, I did really, really good at undergrad, but the two I got accepted to was Howard University School of Law and Atlanta's John Marshall School of Law.
And that's a
And so
no-brainer.
after living here for about 8 months, I moved right back up to the East Coast to attend Howard University School of Law.
Period. That seems like a no-brainer. Were you familiar with the with like all of the HBCU law schools?
I don't think I was, but my thing was I did not want to go to a HBCU law school. I had already went to a HBCU undergrad, and I felt that I needed to diversify myself, and I needed to go to a PWI for law school. That was literally one of the check marks on the schools I did apply to. Listen, UCLA, Georgia State, NYU, those are all very big PWIs. And that was also one of the reasons why I did not want to go to Howard University School of Law, because it was HBCU. And so then I would be a double HBCU grad, which at that time I wasn't too keen on. But now I feel very rich in history and blessed to have that experience.
Yeah, I wish that I had taken the opportunity to go to one of the HBCU law schools. So I applied to 4 out of 6 and got accepted to 2 out of the 4, waitlisted at 1. Howard waitlisted me.
That was my other school, University of Baltimore. They waitlisted me all the way until the end of my first semester of law school, and they were like, "Hey, do you still want to come?" And I was like, "I'm thinking finals." Yeah, it was that long. They waited that long. University of Baltimore. That's where my godparents were. So that was one of the law schools that I applied to. Yeah, I think it was like 7. The other was going to come to me, but definitely because they waitlisted me. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, man, listen, I don't know if I ever got off that goddamn wait list.
I remember literally checking my emails one day, and I was like studying for like finals, and I was like, that was literally my face reading like,
Like, are
on
you
the wait list, the
serious?
semester is over.
And if we don't do anything, let's be for real. Why would you be trying to get me in here in at the tail end of the semester, not even in the middle?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like
So
that's
that was
like
my journey into law school. I had little to no guidance. I had one friend. He was also from Cleveland. He also went to Howard University School of Law. We graduated the same class. Um, and he definitely helped me with my personal statement that I had to submit, send me his, review mine, things of that nature. But other than that, I was just doing the best that I can with what I have. Mm-hmm.
yeah, but see, I think that's one disadvantage in being a first gen anything because it's
Mm-hmm.
like you don't know what you don't know.
That was literally my motto in law school. And yeah, I feel seen when you said that. I'm a first gen college graduate, law school graduate, high school graduate with no teen pregnancy. So that has kind of been my whole life. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's kind of been my whole life journey about like not know like I did my FAFSA for college. I did at the time like my boyfriend's his FAFSA because he didn't have anybody in his family to help him as you know what I mean? So it's kind of like I had to figure it out, and then I was also helping other people figure it out because none of us knew. And he's an engineer now, so it worked out for both of us.
Hey, see, look at that. My sister was able to wait. So do I technically count as a first gen college grad if my sister also graduated college?
So I'm the firstborn grandchild. I am the eldest of my sister and my cousin. So,
Mm,
but when I say first gen, I'm also thinking of my dad and not like my aunt, because my aunt definitely has a college degree, but for her tree line, she would be, you know what I mean? So for me and my dad and yeah, that's what I mean, not my whole family.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So from my mom, it's only my sister and I. I'm the baby. She's the oldest,
So
older.
she has a degree, and you're not the first then.
So
She kind of did
not first gen college grad then,
that.
but first
Okay.
gen law. Yeah.
Doctor, come on, give her a doctor. Thank you. Thank
Her,
you.
her. Yeah. Hopefully my sister don't go out and go get a doctorate next.
She's gonna see this episode like, well, I heard there was some competition.
Like I always knew that I had to at least go to grad school because I'm just like, my big sister did it, so I have to go. But I didn't know, like, how that whole law school process was so different than even just getting into undergrad. So
Mhm.
I had some help with the FAFSA and stuff like that for undergrad, but not that much. Cause I mean, my sister's a social worker now. So,
Mhm.
that even those requirements are very different than
Yeah.
to be on a, like, I guess, a pre-law kind of track.
Yeah.
So,
It was so funny because when I was doing the LSAT, I was living the second time I took it. I was living in Atlanta. So I went to Georgia State to do like this LSAT course. Well, someone actually mentioned it, like, well, go to the graduate school and see it because they offer classes for masters. So
mm,
see if they offer classes for law students or whatever. So that's what I did, and they did. And so I took a class. It was like in Buckhead. It was like $500 or something. This is how I passed, not passed the LSAT, but got the score that I
how you
used.
got this work. Yeah.
Um, and it was really good, but I was so focused on becoming an attorney. I didn't even realize that the master's program, you had to take an exam, or that there was one for med school, or that there was one for, like any other, higher or post grad degree, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that these other programs had tests that you had to test into the pro because I was just so focused on like law school.
Yeah.
So when I went there, I'm like, oh, the MCAT, like what the heck is an MCAT? Like, kind of same thing as the LSAT. So I think for me, even though I didn't know what I didn't know, once I knew what the goal was, I knew how to break that down to get to that goal and to figure out, how to do that. So that's kind of just helped me get to where I am today, I guess.
See, so my undergrad, they gave us they gave us like a free the pre-law institute or pre-law department, whatever. Either
Mhm.
way, they gave us like this Kaplan course for a few weeks, but I don't learn that way, and we'll get into why that matters. But I didn't really learn a thing.
Mhm.
I didn't really learn a thing. I had no business only taking the LSAT once.
Uh,
None whatsoever. Only once.
mhm.
I got the score, cried for like a week, revamped my entire like application list. And I actually applied to like 18 law schools or something like that. But I had a lot of fee waivers. So I said, well, if it's
Okay.
not gonna cost me a thing, I'm just gonna shoot the shot anyway, and it is what it is.
Mine as
And
well. Why not?
when I got accepted to about 12 or 13,
Mm.
over 13 out of that group. But my undergrad GPA helped and my gap year. So I did an internship at a law office and at the Attorney General's office during that year. So that's what helped
That
me.
was
The
very
LSAT,
smart.
absolutely not.
That was very smart.
I had to figure out first of all, I had to figure out whether I had to make sure that I still wanted to go to law school because I went into undergrad with the mindset of I'm going to be a criminal defense attorney or a prosecutor and I'm going to change the world and blah, 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 blah.
I was going to be a juvenile defense attorney, public defender type. And then when I found out what the salary was, I said, pro bono.
See, it was the salary number one, the caseload of
That too.
appeal.
Oh, all of it, the combination of it all.
But for me, I'm a bit of a bleeding heart and like an empath. And
I can't take those. That's why I don't do family law for the same reason. Mm-mm. Can't do it. I had to a little bit, and it
yeah,
was too hard even then. Like doing divorces and child settlement agreements, and who's going to pay for the daycare and the shoes, and no, I can't do. Been there, lived that. Not going back.
as a divorcee, I can't do that. I couldn't do that shit neither. People get very nasty in divorces, and when money is involved, people tend to get even nastier. And I'm
Especially
not that
dealing
kind
with
of person.
celebrities. When your clients are celebrities.
No thanks.
My NDA is up, by the way. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No.
But yeah.
No. So I I wanted to make sure, I'm like, I still want to go to law school, but what kind of attorney am I going to be if what I had my mind set on is never going to be a thing for me?
Which is the
It was
defense
criminal
attorney.
or
Mhm.
yeah, or prosecutor. I'm like, I may be able to find ways to change the system a little bit, but I'm not going to set myself on fire to keep everybody else warm in that sense. I'm a bleeding heart. I would come home and cry. I don't, no, I don't want to be a part of this,
Yeah.
what's this system.
Yeah. So that's my
So
favorite part. So that's why. So that's when I found out about entertainment law. I was like, hold on, wait a minute, I could do this. So when I first got to law school, my original plan was to become a juvenile defense attorney. Growing up in Cleveland, it was just a lot of people who I went to school with that I considered as friends that did jail time just because they had really shitty public defense attorneys, just to be honest. So when I got to law school, that was the goal. And then I sat through constitutional law, I sat through criminal law, I sat through Civ Pro, and I was barely staying awake, to be honest, just to be honest. I came across a group of people, a student organization called um, STELSA, Sports and Entertainment Law Students Association. And then I also met people from another group called IPSA, which is the Intellectual Property Students Association.
mm,
And I joined both of them. And that's when I found out about entertainment law, sports law, TV law, film, music, and all of those types of things. And that's when I also found out about trademarks and copyrights and what IP was and how you can protect that and how that's a whole nother sector of law and how that is federal law and that works in Civ Pro this way because you know, all of that. So that's when I removed myself from trying to be the juvenile public defense attorney and just doing what I want. My whole objective was to find a job or to find a career that I didn't hate doing. Like I don't want to have to wake up every day and wear a suit. However, if I want to put that shit on, I can. You know,
right.
and so that's kind of how I feel with entertainment law. I like when I started law school, I was like, I'm gonna represent Beyonce. I'm gonna do her contracts. Like that was me being so green, which I still can do. You know, there's still time,
For
but
sure.
that's kind of what the goal was. And so once I figured out where I fit in as far as like my passion and where I want to do law, that's kind of where I took off and that's where I excelled.
Nice. We're gonna circle back to what you said about IP being federal, because that's gonna tie into, the whole point about the
Hmm.
bar.
Okay.
I didn't even know anything about IP law, so I danced ballet and modern from like age 3 to 17, 18.
Wow.
I I realized I'm like, I don't ever want to be like a famous dancer. I would much rather not be in the background, do stuff for fun.
Hmm.
I didn't put two and two together and realize that like dancers, creators, stuff like I didn't realize that that was even a thing
Yeah.
until 1L year. And I met this professor who described himself as a sports and entertainment attorney. So I hate the phrase pick your brain, but for lack of a better phrase right this second, I picked his brain and
Hmm.
his friends who were willing to speak to me.
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, so I could be the dancers' lawyers.
Hmm.
Cool. So full speed ahead. I actually started law school in Chicago, what
Oh,
at what's now UIC law,
okay.
and born and raised New Yorker. I was more than happy to come back home. It is way colder in Chicago
You
than it
think
is
so? No, Chicago cold is crazy because they have that wind. The wind is crazy. Yeah.
the
I don't
bone.
know. New York and Chicago, you know, I was just there for in February for New York Fashion Week. And coming from Atlanta, I felt the wind, I felt the temperature change on the plane before I even got up. So, but Chicago's cold is it's brutal because they also have the wind in the ocean. I mean, not the oceans, but the rivers, the lakes.
Mhm.
I don't like none of y'all
Mm-mm.
and one of y'all.
I Oh, I cannot do this for the rest of my days. If I am already cold enough in New York, like that cold, that wind, and
Mm-hmm.
much smaller back then. Can you?
Mm-hmm.
The wind flung my little ass. I said, I can't do this. This ain't safe. I'm gonna fly
That's
into a
the point.
building.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Can't do it.
That's when I discovered Uber and Lyft.
Give me a little ride.
Okay, I was Ubering everywhere, supermarket, to school, from school. I don't do cold.
Oh, this was back when Uber was still that $4, $5 a ride.
Back then, but I'm ashamed to admit that even once the prices went up, I did not stop.
But yeah, so IP law is federal law. I think that's what you were saying.
Yes. So
Mm-hmm.
before we dive into that part of it,
Okay.
how did your law school, or did your law school rather, prepare you for the bar or expose you to what the bar exam was going to be like? So for example, my school, they weaved in an intro to MEE and intro to MBE course into our last year, our 3L year. So
Mm-hmm.
we had no choice but to take those classes. And so that was kind of sort of an introduction
Mm-hmm.
to what the bar would be like. Not really, but that was it was it was cool. It
Mm-hmm.
was helpful in a sense. So did your school offer anything similar to that?
Yes. So our 3L year, well, starting from your 1L year, they have all of the bar prep companies tabling and reaching out to you and giving you all of this information and things of that nature. So we had that since 1L year. So our 3L year, they started this course. It was kind of like the one that you're referring to, but ours was literally called bar prep. And it was an administrator. She's actually my sorority sister. She headed it. She was the teacher and the professor of the course, and she taught us how to write for the bar exam, which is also teaching us how to write essays for law exams. And she taught us how to issue spot and to how to put the facts with the rule and to have a conclusion. Like she literally gave us a structure of a sentence and she highlighted each part to say this is the rule and this is how you add the fact and this is how you do the conclusion, this is how you write a paragraph and this is how you do IRAC. And so we literally had a course that, like you said, we could not miss it, to help us prepare for the bar exam. I wouldn't say we had like the multiple choice part of it though, like we didn't have a section for that, but as far as like structuring a sentence or structuring a response as far as a paragraph to um uh what is it called, like an extended answer question, an essay question, she definitely helped us with that. And also I think a little bit with the MPT as well, like the performance test, like
Nice.
giving us hypos and stuff.
That's actually very good.
And also at Howard, in our tuition, they match our bar expenses. So when we leave, like when we graduate, we don't have to pay for a bar. We don't have to pay for Barbary or Kaplan or anything like that because it's already paid for. It's in our tuition, and then Howard matches the other. They do half of the course.
Oh.
Yeah,
Other schools take notes, okay? Bar prep is expensive,
it is.
cost prohibitive in many cases.
Yeah, I think the only thing we had to pay for was like the book or like the shipping for the book, but it wasn't that much at all. And then whatever else you want to use.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you got to avoid the whole bar study loan nightmare.
Yeah, thankfully.
Hallelujah. I literally just paid mine off last year and it was double what I even borrowed.
I don't even know what that is like. I did have a friend at the time. She went to Temple Law, and I think she had some of that issue because I remember like her dad had to pay like 500, or it was like a crazy amount of money, and I was just like, "Ooh, girl, like that was a lot." But I didn't have any of those. Yeah, it was like, "Oh, this is your bar setup account. This is your login. This is your password. Click this and pay this to get your books sent to your house," and that was it.
And you did Barbary, right?
Unfortunately, yeah,
Same,
unfortunately.
same. I just found out that Barbary has acquired Adaptabar. Adaptabar is now a Barbary company.
First of all, I love adaptive bar. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
I love adaptive bar, but I hope they don't change too much of their formula with Barbary though, because that's gonna be a mess, and I don't like that.
Right. So Barbary did not work for you. I'm going to make sure to edit a little bit of that rant out. Probably not. Anyways, so why wasn't Barbary a good fit for you?
Okay, this is gonna get a little personal. So at the end of my 3-year year, I was kind of going back and forth between which jurisdiction I wanted to practice in. At the time, I had a boyfriend, of course, and we were off and on, and it was back and forth. And so I was actually going to sit for the UBE in Maryland,
Mhm.
right? And so that's why I chose Barbary. However, when I decided I was no longer going to stay in Maryland and I was going to actually move to Georgia and practice in Atlanta, I tried to change my bar prep company to Kaplan because historically Kaplan works better for Georgia bar test takers. That's a tongue twister. Look at God. But by the time I was trying to do it, it was too late to switch, so I had to stick with Barbary. So I don't want to say that Barbary is a terrible company. It just did not work for me, and I wish I would have used Kaplan. I do know people who use Barbary that passed the first time,
Yeah.
but for me, it just wasn't the best thing. I also did not receive my books on time, so I wasn't able to keep up. Like I started off bad, basically, and I was never able to like kind of catch up. Um, it was just a blur. Like you don't know what you don't know. So I didn't have adaptive bar at the time. I wasn't invoking other means of like studying. I was just really sticking to all of the 7 Barbary books that they give you. I was really just sticking to that. And I think I had the what's the name cards. What is it called? The colorful critical pass. Yes.
Yep.
And I had those cards, which if you don't know it, you don't know it. Like reading those cards it was not helping me. So that was the first time I took it.
Okay. And okay, so you take it, you get the results, then what?
Cry my eyes out, super depressed. Moved back home with my mom for like 6 months. Um, I don't take it again until so the first time I took it was standard. It was July or June, whenever it is, the summer.
Mhm.
And then I was still living in Atlanta. I had started working for the entertainment firm. And so by Thanksgiving, I had received my bar results and that's when I moved back. So by December of 2018, I was back in Cleveland. And then I took it again, I want to say that February, took it in Georgia. So now I'm flying to Atlanta from Georgia to sit for the bar exam. But yeah, I was just and I honestly shouldn't have taken it that second time so soon because I still wasn't preparing adequately. Like it wasn't enough time. I wasn't over the heartbreak of the first failure. It was just like I was just doing it to keep going, to keep the momentum up, to like not want to do it anymore. And so that was the second time. The third time, I want to say I was back in Atlanta. It's a fog.
Permanently? Like you moved back?
So I had taken it in February of 2019. I didn't pass it. Um, and I got the results in May around my birthday. By that February of 2019, I moved back to Atlanta in April of 2019. My birthday is in May. So once I I was already working. I had got a job offer. And it wasn't contingent on me being an attorney. It was like a paralegal job or something. So I moved back to Atlanta in April of 2019. My birthday was May of 2019, and that was the third time that I had failed the bar exam. At this point, I am working at like this job, and it's just paying the bills at this point. And I'm not really worried about taking the bar in the summertime, like I'm trying to think because I took it one time during COVID. I took it twice during COVID, and I'm trying to think if the first time was. Oh no! This is right. Okay, because the third time was February 2019. The fourth time was in
February 2020?
in 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, it was in 2020, and it was February of 2020.
And also the Georgia bar, right?
It was Georgia again. Yep.
Okay. So,
Or it could have been June. It could have been June or February of 2020, but 2020 was the last time I took it in Georgia. That was the fourth time.
okay. And so, okay, after that time, you get those results. You're like,
I think it was actually June because in 2019 I went to Africa, and when I came back in 2020, I had been laid off from my job. Literally the week after I came back from Africa, laid off from my job, and so that was January of 2020, and then COVID happened in March. So I was never employed in 2020.
mm,
For the whole year, I was unemployed because it was COVID. And so
mhm,
that's why I think that I didn't take it in February because I was unemployed already. I didn't have the coins. So I
yeah,
probably just took it in that summer of 2020. And I took it at home, and it was like open book because they can't, it was like
yeah.
open book, but they had certain parameters around it.
Mhm.
Okay, took it in 2020, still didn't pass it. But this time I'm getting closer. So like the last time I missed about like 6 points or 8 points. This time I missed about like 4 points. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's getting better. But when you take the Georgia bar, you don't make it. They don't give you your old scores back. They don't give you any feedback. For the
Oh,
UBE, they tell you, hey, you could have done better in this area on this subject. Hey, it was your essay that was weak, but your multiple choice was strong. Georgia doesn't give you anything. They give you an email saying that you didn't pass. Try
and
again.
go forth and do well.
Try again. That was the
They
fourth
don't allow
time.
you to request it? Nothing? Like, I know some places don't
You
offer
can't
it up.
request it. It's not an option to request it. No, babe. They tell you this is the path. We are what how do I say it? We are unfortunately something to announce that or to inform you that the passing score for this bar exam is 260, 270, 280, whatever it is, and you have a score of this amount. You can always retake it at this point or contact someone for emotional support or mental health. Blah, blah, blah. That's pretty much it. I have 4 of those. I can pull them up. At the end of 2020, the guy who I was dating in law school, we kind of rekindled things. And so in 2021, I moved to Maryland, and I took the bar exam in 2021. I took it in the summer. No, I took it that February. So
Mhm.
2020 passes, I don't pass Georgia. I say F Georgia, I'm not doing Georgia no more. I'm going to do the UBE. For those who are watching and don't know what the UBE is, the UBE is the Universal Bar Exam. It is a bar exam where multiple states have decided that, hey, we are going to opt into this exam, and whoever takes this exam and they passes our score for our state, no matter where they took it at, they can practice in our state. Let me give you an example. I live in Maryland. Maryland says that they are a part of the UBE. New York says that they're part of the UBE. New Jersey says that they're part of the UBE. Philadelphia says that they're part of the UBE. If all of them say all you need is a 260 to pass, and I pass with a 262, I can practice in any of those states because all of those states have said that we all agree to whatever those rules are in the UBE, and this person has tested within our state. That's what the UBE means. So for me and my score, I passed for 5 states when I did take the UBE and I did pass the exam. So
Mhm.
let's go back. In 2020, in February, when I took the UBE and I did not pass, the UBE sent me my results, or I could have requested them for like $20. And they'll send you your results and they'll say, hey, your MPT was really, really strong. You only missed 2 points here. However, your essays were really, really weak, and you did not do well in real property, civil procedure, you know, what's the E one?
Evidence?
Rules of procedure, no, evidence. Like they'll tell you what subjects you didn't do good, and so that you know how to prepare for the next time. So the next time I prepare for it, I'm not really going hard on the MPT because I know I'm good there. I really need to focus on these subjects and how to write them in an essay. Totally different from Georgia because Georgia doesn't give you any of that feedback, so you really don't know what you need to be studying on. You're just studying harder on everything. Okay.
Mhm.
So when I took the February exam in 2021, I did not pass, but I did not pass by 4 points.
Okay.
So when I got my results back and I saw what I needed to work on, that's what I worked on. I took it again in February of 2022. I passed the exam for 5 states. That I
Mhm.
did not pass it for Maryland because Maryland's points were higher than what I scored. But what I did score, I passed it for 5 other states. One of
Mhm.
those 5 states was Alabama. Alabama is right next door to Georgia.
Mhm.
Georgia's what I want to been my whole life. I've been wanting to live in Atlanta forever. So when I
Mhm.
did find out the state that I did pass for the UBE, the one that's closest to the state where I want to practice is the one that I applied to be an attorney in, which is Alabama.
And now let's circle back to why that's important. So you mentioned that IP is federal.
So so if I wanted to do IP law is federal, and for the UBE, the difference between the UBE and let's say Georgia is not a part of the UBE. The UBE, the Universal Bar Exam, only focuses on federal law. The difference between that and Georgia is that Georgia has their state laws also on the exam. How does that look? Well, Georgia has different laws statewide than federal laws for things of like family law. Can a child decide where they want to live? Things of that nature. This can go into like the age of consent and certain, different things of that nature. Marijuana laws and all different things like that. But with the UBE, it's straight federal law, and with IP, that is also federal law. Whenever you have a case that has to do with IP, copyright, trademark, trade dress, patent law, anything of that nature, that's going to go straight to the federal courts because IP is such a distinct area of law. They have their own courts, they have their own judges, they have their own interpretations because it's not the same as the rest of the law. And that is located in the state of Virginia at
Mhm.
the
Yep.
United States Patent and Trademark Office,
Mhm.
the USPTO. That's the abbreviation for it. So for me to be able to pass the UBE and to work at any state, if I wanted to do any IP law, which is what my foundation is in, as well as entertainment law, that's all I needed was to get that score for one state. And so
Mhm.
that's the difference. That's like the open and growth. So when I was in law school, my internships, I worked for the Discovery Channel. I worked for a manufacturing company of like NASCAR, like like race car equipment, but I worked in their legal contracts department. And so I never did like corporate like office work, like a law firm work. I always wanted to do entertainment law. I always wanted to work in office and be in like in-house counsel and things of that nature. I never wanted to have like wear a suit every day. Sometimes I want to wear jeans or a t-shirt or sneakers or you know what I mean.
Mhm.
And so being able to do IP law kind of opened that up for me in entertainment law.
I want to dive into your mindset in that tidbit because although I'm an IP attorney and I knew that IP was federal and I didn't have to be barred in one specific place in order to practice,
Mm-hmm.
even once I got a passing UBE score for X and X number of states, I
Mm-hmm.
still took the bar exam again.
Mm-hmm.
I took it about two more times after that, actually, trying to get New York's specific score.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a passing UBE score February 2019. I almost let the score expire
You want
because
to get a better score.
I wanted to get a better score and to keep getting the same damn score or worse.
Yeah.
I almost again let the score expire, and it's just interesting because my mindset was that of if you don't pass for New York, you still failed.
Yeah, no, my mindset was bitch pass anywhere. Just get your foot in there. Get a passing score, no matter where it is. Um, I was so over taking the bar exam. I was so defeated. I was so beat down. I was so depressed for years. I had not only failed the bar exam, I felt like I failed the relationship I was in because that's who I thought I was supposed to be with and live with and my future with. And I felt like a failure to my parents and my mom. And I remember my mom, she said, like, if you never do anything that like if you never accomplish anything else, I'm still proud of like what you have done. Like you don't ever have to do anything more. Like what you have done is enough. And I was just like, oh, like tear. At the time I was boo crying, but So yeah, for me, it was kind of like just get it done, like just finish this journey that you started, and so for me, finish her, but it wasn't like I'm also like my friends call me a nomad. Like I do move and travel a lot, so it wasn't like I needed to be specifically in this state. Like if I would have passed for Illinois or for not Illinois, that's Chicago. If I would have passed for Nevada, I would have flown to Nevada, did my ceremony and flown back to wherever I was like living and just working, whatever job. Like I just wanted to pass somewhere. And for those of you watching, like if you don't know, there are other fees included when you have to take the bar exam. So you have to pay for the exam, you have to pay for a background check, you have to pay for the software that you are using to take the bar exam on. You have to pay a laptop fee to take the bar on your laptop, on your own personal laptop. You have to pay a fee for that. You may have to pay for parking on the day of. You have to pay for lunch on the day of. You have to pay for whatever bar material that you're using. Because let's say you use adaptive bar. If you don't know what adaptive bar is, on multiple choice questions. It runs you multiple choice questions for every single subject, gives you explanations, gives you practice tests and practice exams, and spits you back feedback. It's also kind of like AI-ish because it lets you know you've done 50 real property questions. Now you need to move on to this subject, or you've mixing your questions up, but you're doing really, really bad on evidence. You need to do 50 more evidence questions so that you can understand the subject, or you're answering these questions correctly, but you don't really know the black letter law. So you need to go back and do the primary questions of this subject. That's adaptive bar. That really, really helped me. That has a fee. And once you use it for one session, it doesn't stay open. You have to repay that fee again to use it for the next time you take the bar exam. So for me, it was like I was already amassing $1,000+ 1,500+ every time I took the bar exam. So for me, it was kind of like, just pass it somewhere. Like you're gonna be in-house anyway. I was never gonna be at a firm, like, and if I was, I would what is it called? The Latin word when you work with another attorney, you have to sign a thing.
Oh, pro hoc
Pro hoc vitae. Yeah. I was like, I can be pro hoc, like I don't need to actually be barred in this state. So that was kind of my mindset. And yeah, when I got the actual results back, I called my best friend at the time and I was crying because I didn't pass for Maryland. And she was like, "Wait a minute, what'd you say your score was?" And I said this, and I can hear her on her laptop like, "Bitch, you passed from 5 states." And I was like, "What?" We just started. It was like 2 a.m. We started like screaming, and it's like, "Oh my goodness!" So I passed for a state. She said, "You passed for 5 states. Pick one." And so I
I
was so
love
happy.
that.
Yeah.
I love that.
She was already barred. She went to Temple Law. She had passed her first time taking it. Mind you, we took it together the first time. She was on this journey with me for like six times, 5 more times after the first one. So yeah.
That's a friend. I love that. It wasn't until I had a similar conversation with who's now a really good friend. She was actually a bar prep coach at that time. Now she's a professor, but we had connected, and she's just like, "Okay, I see you're taking it again. What was your last score?" And blah 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 blah. So I told her, she's just like, "So why are you taking it again?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Because I didn't pass." She said, "Well, you didn't pass to be barred in New York, but you can be barred other places." And I'm like, "But I want to be barred in New York."
Yeah.
And so she's like, "Well, I'm not going to discourage you from taking the exam again if that's what you want to do. And I will absolutely, work with you. I'll help you. But I'm just letting you know that this is unnecessary stress, time, energy, money, all of that." About having passed for a few jurisdictions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool that we both had friends to kind of like cheer us up about that.
Mm-hmm.
So my friend that I was telling you about, she pretty much was like, "Why are you taking it again? You can practice." And so she used this analogy. She's just like, "So what I'm hearing you say is you're about to allow your score to expire because you can't get barred in New York right now. That's what I'm hearing you say? And I'm just like, well, when you say that, that sounds, I don't like how that sounds, but I guess that is what's happening. She's just like, so that's like going to a club, right? And you can get into the club, but you just can't sit in the section that you want to sit in. So you're just gonna not go and you're gonna miss out. You're gonna hate from outside the club when you can get in. I said, that is a very good analogy. Not that I go to clubs, but
Mhm.
like that's a very good analogy. So, food for thought.
Yeah.
So then we both we looked and she's just like, well, you can get barred in these jurisdictions. Look at the additional requirements and like figure out what their MPRE minimum scores are, figure out what they need for character and fitness and just do it. And wave in if it means that much to you. So I still went ahead, took the exam again, went into the craziest like depression when I did not get New York score again. So it was so unnecessary. I think that's like what I want to drive home for everybody. Like it's unnecessary to drive yourself crazy, beat yourself up, go into this spiral. It's unnecessary. And you like that just doesn't have to be the experience.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not the end of the world. And you're not a failure as a person. Your whole life isn't ruined. Like
Right.
mom said, like I'm so proud of you regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Like the people around you aren't saying that, or at least they shouldn't be. And if they are, then they gotta go. But the people around you aren't saying these things. Why are you saying them to yourself? From deciding, okay, this is the jurisdiction I'm gonna pick. What was your next move?
So I was already living in Atlanta when I got those results. And I was working. Was I working? I don't remember if I was working or not. I was working because
Was it that paralegal job you were telling me about?
no, it was I was working at a firm, but I wasn't doing like legal work. I was doing like what was it called? Like conflict of interest checks and stuff like that. So and now we're talking 22. Yeah, now we're talking 22, 2022. So 2022, I moved back to, so let's back up a little. I don't want it to confuse anyone. I did say that I was living in Maryland in 2021, correct? In
Yes.
2022, I was still living in Maryland, but in a different location. I was temporarily with my godparents. And so that's when I took the bar in February. I had left my old place and moved in with my godparents at the January of 2022. I was all new, on something new. And so I
Mhm.
do feel like that definitely like aided in me passing in February because I was able to just focus on that and no outside interferences. Let's just say that
Mhm.
for the nicest way to put it. Cut that out. Cut that out. You don't have to cut it out.
I mean, I can.
But
I
no, you don't have to.
can
Girl, I ain't scared of nobody. Can't nobody beat my ass. I'll pay all my bills.
clock it. I,
Thank you. Thank you.
maybe we won't cut that out because I
No, don't
think
cut that out. Because
I think it's
people need
another
to hear
important.
that. Like people that are girlfriends and stuff, like, and keep this part in too. I do feel like me leaving the one part of Maryland where I was to be like in solitude in another part definitely helped me because I was able to just focus. When I say that I didn't have to worry about making dinner. I didn't have to worry about doing laundry. I didn't have to worry about being like the woman of the house or like worrying about anyone else. All I had to worry about was studying. Like my godparents had dinner. I didn't really have to go anywhere. Like I didn't have to worry about gas money or anything. I was in the house working and studying. And I feel like that definitely aided in me passing that time. I just didn't have any distractions at all, like none. So and it was a ripple effect, honestly. Like in January of 2022, I was on something new. I took the bar in February. The next like 2 days after that. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even have a car at this time. From August of 2021 until February of 2022, I didn't have a car because the car that I paid off in full, mind you, died on me the year I paid it off in 2020. In 2021, it died. You need a new, not a battery, a new engine. The whole engine, that's basically getting a new car. So that's what I did. I
Yeah.
got a new car.
And at that point, is it even worth it if you're gonna have to kick out that amount of money?
People have been asking me, my bonus father, my godfather, hey, how old is your car? When are you gonna get a new car? I was trying to hold on to that car. I was holding on. I was holding on. Granted, the car was a 2013. I got it in 2014. So when I got it, it was barely. It had 5,000 miles on it. Like it wasn't even a car. It was a baby car. February 2022, took the bar. 2 days after that, maybe a week after that, got a new car. Um, April 2022, moved back to Atlanta from Maryland. May of 2022, found out that I did pass the bar exam that I took that February. And then I was working the office job I was telling you about when I was doing the conflicts checks up until Thanksgiving of 2022.
Mhm.
And that's when I was laid off. It was like 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, actually. I was laid off until March of 2023, and that's when I started the position that I'm in now.
Nice. And you made it in-house?
Yes. So I do work for a tech company. I handle contracts, but it's not like a contract department. I'm actually in the legal department, so I am in-house for this company. I am not considered an attorney for the company, so I don't have like an attorney, not license, but insurance and stuff for the company. But I
Mhm.
do legal work for the company. So yeah, and
Nice.
I am barred now. So for anyone watching, if you're listening, if you made it this far, I did take the bar 6 times, and hopefully that's not your portion, that's not your story. But if you are still struggling to take the bar, let me be motivation to you that if I can do it, you can do it. I also want to say one more thing.
Yes, please.
The second or third time I did hire a tutor, the tutor was for the MPT, which is the performance test. If you don't know what that is yet, the performance test is when they give you a prompt, and it's usually from a supervisor or from a client or a potential client, or from opposing counsel or from a judge, and it basically asks you to write a brief or write a memo or assess these facts and tell me whether we can persuade the judge or do this or that. And so that's basically what the MPT is. Each exam has 2 of those on the test, and I just noticed that when I was practicing and practicing and practicing, that score always came up very weak. So I hired a Black woman in Atlanta that specifically tutors for that section, and I use her formula every time. I teach her formula to other test takers, and that has made my score skyrocket, and it was up and stuck. And her formula was amazing, and that's what I use or tell people to use when they're taking the MPT. And so I think that once I had that section done, and then I used adaptive bar for the multiple choice, and then I used previous exams and just the bar prep course that I took in law school for the
Yeah.
essay part. Once you put all of those together, you have a passed exam.
Mhm. So that definitely that I had a tutor. First of all, I shouldn't have even been taking the exam. In hindsight, I should not have been taking that exam when I was taking it back in 2018. Who the hell takes the bar going through a divorce? Who
Mm.
does that? That's not smart. What
No, ma'am. How'd that happen?
I was very stuck on the failure aspect of it.
Okay.
And so I felt like I could not stop because I failed. I could not stop and pause and take a break or take care of myself because I failed. My whole world ends if I don't pass. But in hindsight, I probably slowed myself down, held myself back, and put myself at much more of a deficit than if I had taken that time to stop and rest, not be going through a divorce or a breakup or anything like that. But I will say that
I did the same
One,
thing.
yeah, one takeaway that I really want to hone in on really quickly is how when you walked away from that relationship and you took the time to sit with yourself and fully throw yourself into your studies, that made a difference. I think it's important for folks to realize that you got to set boundaries.
Oh yeah,
And self-care ain't selfish.
it's not.
In fact, it's the nicest thing that you can do for yourself.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
wasn't until you took that time and dedicated that time to yourself and decided, you know what, this is not about to be a distraction, it is what it is, whatever.
Hmm.
And I think we have a hard time with that, especially as women.
Definitely.
We have a very hard time with that. But we kind of what I really want folks to gather is you cannot show up for the bar, law school, anything, and you cannot be everything to other people if you are nothing to yourself.
That part, yes. I agree. Ooh, girl, you preaching now. Hold on. Hold on now.
It's very hard to take that time, even if it is just a few weeks, but it's a boundary that should be set.
Hmm.
And there should be no hard feelings, just hard boundary, and I'll see you in a few weeks.
It's different for us women all the time, but yeah, you gotta break away and do what's the best for you, I guess. I don't know.
Did you have any friends that were also repeat takers?
I'm sure, yeah. At the same time, definitely, yeah. We had like in Atlanta with like study groups and stuff, but I don't do well in groups, period. No, I'm kidding. I'll play nice with others, but I didn't do well in study groups just because we didn't have like I want to be if I'm in a study group, I want to be able to ask someone like, okay, so what does this mean? And then they tell me. I don't want it to just be like bouncing ideas off each other because we could both be wrong. You know what I mean?
And it could be the blind leading the blind.
Exactly. But I did notice when I studied by myself and I was able to map stuff out and just ask myself questions and then kind of like go to whoever the professor could, because I would still go to like the Barbary course, like in class sessions and just ask like, well, what does this mean? Or email someone and they'll be able to answer. Okay, well, that makes sense. And that's just an easy, you know what I mean? And I just don't like to be distracted. Like other people like to chew, like I get irritated, I feel like easily. So chewing or tapping your pencil, it's like I just want to study in solitude. That's just how I'm an only child as well. So I have a little sister, but we're like 11 years apart from my dad. But yeah, grew up only child. So I'm like, yeah, it was better for me when I just had my whiteboard with me, had my markers. I would go to the library, get a room, and just bang out like Civ Pro, Federal Civ Pro.
Okay.
It was now looking back, like when I was locked in, yo, I was locked in. I was not playing.
Honestly, yeah, study groups have never really been a good thing for me. I too get very irritated very quickly, overstimulated,
Mhm.
clearly. Because I'm pretty sure the people weren't that loud, but it's just me. But
I didn't hear him at all, actually. I was like, where are we going? What's going on?
no, all I was hearing was just noise, and I'm just seeing people, and I'm just like, oh,
Oh, I am writing an ebook about passing the bar. Um, don't know when it's going to come out, but I'll definitely let you know, and then you can let the watchers, viewers know. But it's
yeah,
really just
sounds
going
good.
to be like a very down to earth. If you speak to any of my peers from law school, they'll tell you like, oh yeah, she keep it real. Like it's just going to be a very down to earth, easy read on like some tips on how to study for the bar and how to pass the bar. Definitely giving you resources. They probably won't be free because, as you all know, passing the bar is not free. But just kind of like help retakers calm down, gain confidence, like reassure them, and let them hear my story to let them know that, listen, people, it's so cliche to say, but once you're in a position to say it, it really feels true. Like if I can do it, and I did this shit 6 times, first generation college grad, first generation non-pregnant high school grad, first generation law school grad. If I can do it from Cleveland, Ohio, not from the middle class, babe. Yeah, we from there. Okay? If I can do it and figure it out, you can do it and figure it out too. The book will not be super expensive, probably like $15, very affordable. Um, I don't know. I'll tell you where to get it from later, but I am in the process of making that. Just so that people can like cut out the BS. I just feel like when people retake it or they're taking it for the first time, there's so much thrown at you and you don't really know what to like hold on to and use. But you can't use everything because if you focus on too many things, you're going to be distracted and you're not going to focus on anything. So for
Exactly.
me, I know for sure I'm going to, adapt the bar. um, Look up the old exams for essays and see what the top answers were and see how they were written. Um,
Mhm.
the
If
influence
your jurisdiction
structure.
allows it, order your score reports or order your answers and
Mhm.
actually see,
Look at
see
them.
where you went
Yeah.
wrong
Mhm.
and just work from there.
Yep.
Starting from, would you recommend that people who are retaking start from scratch?
Yes. I actually, this will all be in the book as well. Like things you can do around the house, like create your own calendar by using poster boards. Like when I studied for the exam, the last two times I started from the subjects, like each subject I was doing a black letter law. If you're watching this, you should know the black letter laws, like what is battery, what is assault, like just the basics, the basic rules of law. What is a plaintiff, stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I started from like that, and then I grew my studying. So I would start from like the black letter law, and then I would do like black letter law essays, and then black letter law multiple choice, and then mixing them up, and then doing a bigger essay of all of the like different rules and exceptions, throwing stuff in for just that subject. Once I was
Mm.
comfortable that week, the next week I moved on to the next subject. And then when I started doing like when I was 3 weeks in, I would start mixing my multiple choice questions. Because at this point, I'm sure I've hit 50 in the first two. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that's very similar to what I did. I started weaving in different, like mixing up the subjects, and that was actually very helpful.
And I purely relied on Adaptive Bar for that. I let them tell me, okay, you've done enough questions in this subject. Now it's time to move on to the next one.
Okay, wait, to go back to like the full-on Barbie course, how did you feel about like their structure and like their schedule that they put out for you?
I felt like it was unrealistic. There was so much to do in one day. You have to wake up at like 5 a.m. ready to like boots on the ground, ready to go to get everything done. And then when you didn't get it done, it felt overwhelming because now you have extra work to do and you're thinking about it when you're sleeping and it's like stressing you out. And like, I don't do well when I feel stressed out or like feel like I'm behind or I have to like catch up. Like, I don't, I break out in hives and stuff. It's not good for me. Mm-mm,
Same. Honestly, anxiety it's not right. It is
mm-mm.
not right.
And you're already stressed about this exam. Like, that's enough.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I was parked. It wasn't until number one, the whole boundaries and blah 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 thing, but it wasn't until I started paying attention to how I learn
Mm-hmm.
and accepted that structure or like that schedule, I wasn't retaining anything. So I'm sitting in front of the computer starving for 12 hours, but for what? Because I'm not retaining
Mhm.
anything.
Yeah.
So I think I also want folks to understand that it's about the quality of
Mhm.
the study time that you're putting in. You could sit in front of the computer for 15 hours a day if you want to, but like, are you learning?
So for me, I did everything to learn. So I had it on audio, like in the car. If I was driving to the city or from the city, I would be listening to a podcast or some type of audio about the rules. Even if it's just background, I'm just, how sometimes you just be driving, you be like, oh shoot, how did I get here? But
Yeah.
you're like subconsciously, you're listening still, you're retaining stuff still. I know for me, I'm like a very hands-on. I need a pen and paper to write. I need to write on the whiteboard. I need to write on something because me writing it and then me reading it and then me writing it on index cards and stuff like that, like that really helped me. I will say get critical pass cards. Even though I said I didn't use them correctly, that was the first time. Once I understood and I was like retaining stuff, they were amazing. I took them with me everywhere. If I was going to a little kickback in the summertime in Atlanta, yeah, I had Adapter Bar. They have an app. I had Adapter Bar on my phone. I may have some little flashcards in my purse. I'm gonna go through 10 right quick. Hold on, we're gonna play a game. Let me. oh no, okay, let me know when it's my turn. You know, it was easy, and you don't have to take them all. You can take one subject. You can take a part of the subject. You can take, so yeah, that was definitely helpful.
Okay, so did you make time for anything outside of law while studying? And do you think that that was a game changer for you in any way?
So I will say when I first was taking the exam the first couple of times, I was still trying to have a social life. The last time I took it, I didn't do anything. I took one day out of the week to decompress and relax, and that was usually on Sundays. I would go to my homegirl house and we would just like watch Jocelyn's Cabaret and have pig out on food and just kind of chill out. But Monday through Saturday, I was locked. I was on a schedule. I was up before work to study. I would work my 8-hour shift, 9-hour shift. I would be studying until I fell asleep. And I'm talking about falling asleep at the desk, having somebody like it's like get in the bed, like okay, and then doing the same thing the next day, every day. So I was locked in. The last time I took it, I played no games. I didn't travel. I didn't do anything. I was, mind you, that was January when I had finally had that solitude. So I really didn't even have no time to play. Like the studying
Yeah,
that I did before that, I had to really dial that in and make sure I knew that information so that for the next month and a half, I was really just, I want to say by mid January, I was just doing practice tests. I'm not even studying anymore. I'm just doing practice tests and reviewing the answers and redoing it again and doing another one and doing another one. Like, yeah.
that was a game changer for me as well. Like
Mhm.
just taking the practice test instead of trying to relearn. It's just like, well, I'm pretty sure if you flex the muscle, i.e., take a practice test, you'll figure out what you're good at, what you should probably work a little harder on. So, okay, taking practice tests is also a game changer. There's
I'll also say not so with practice tests, I'll also say in addition to knowing what you need to know and what you don't need to know, once you are really, really locked into like practicing for the bar exam, you're even going to know how many questions you should be doing within 30 minutes. Like I was so locked in, I knew that by the time they said 30 minutes, I should have 50 questions done. And if I didn't have that many done, I was running behind, which means I may not be able, I don't have time to come back to a question, or I don't have time to skip a question, or like that's how locked in I was. Like it was a train. It was like it was a machine factory going on in here for the bar exam for me. I was just like so on it, and the difference between this is important too. The Georgia bar, you take 4 essays. You have 45 minutes each for the Georgia bar. You have 4 essays, 45 minutes each. For the UBE, you have 6 essays. And you have 30 minutes
30 minutes
each.
each.
So for someone who had taken the bar exam 4 times and was accustomed to having 45 minutes, I'm structuring out. Let me read the prompt for 15 minutes. Let me structure this for 15 minutes. Let me do this for 15 minutes. Now I have to take that structure, that model, revamp that into 30 minutes. I have to read in 10 minutes. I have to issue spot. I have to structure my essay totally different from this. And even
Mhm.
on the first time, I only missed it by like 4 points. So that's when I knew, like, oh, I'm taking this again. I'm gonna pass it. Like the first time I took it, I only missed it by 4 compared to this. Oh yeah. Let me go ahead and not. That was just a practice test. Let me go ahead and do this again. Like I was just playing. Psych. Let me sit down one more time. And when I sat down that second time, I knew I passed it when I walked out. People say that. I not heard people say it like, how the fuck you know? You don't know. I knew I passed when I walked out. I knew those questions. When you are locked in for the bar exam, the questions will become repetitive. When they say not instead of is, you're going to notice that. You're going to notice small things because you have seen these questions time and time again. You know this law, you have studied, and now it's like become you. You're like, this ain't my first name. This is my first name. That's how you're going to feel about the exam. So even like with
Mhm.
the essays and the MPT, I knew that the way that I was taught, the way that I had been practicing, I had at this point taken it 5 times, and my MPT score was always up there. I knew that was a given. Let me do this MPT really fast because I know I'm gonna knock that out. A little
Mhm.
nervous about the essays, but after the first time I took the Maryland or the UBE and then the practice that I had put in, now I had a system. I knew that I could read the question or the prompt in 5 minutes, and then I can structure my I write for the next 5 minutes, and that's only 10 minutes. Now I got 20 minutes to flush it out with black letter law and facts and conclusion, and that's it. So it's like once I got that and I issue spot, I'm like this and this and this and this and this and that. Yeah, And then when it got to the multiple choice questions, adaptive bar had me together. I was not scared. I was going through them. What's next? Let me get some more.
I
I was
love
eating
that for
them up with
you.
the kids. I was eating it up. Yeah.
I love that for you. The essays were the only thing that got me over any kind of hump, like multiple choice. I don't care how many adaptive bar questions I took. Me and multiple choice, we don't get along. I don't like them. They don't like me. But them essays, I will say that studying, trying to improve my MBE score for the multiple choice questions did help me lock down more of the law that
Essay.
could have, exactly, that could have helped on an essay.
Can
So,
we expand on that for a second?
yes,
So for me, that was very helpful. The fifth and the sixth time I took it. So for you guys watching, Elle is explaining. So you did take the UBE, right?
yes.
So because the UBE is federal law, the same law that you're using for your multiple choice is the same law that you're applying for your essay questions. So if you have questions about a contract over here and it's something about offer and acceptance, but you have to explain it in the essay, and then you have 5 questions that are based on contract law and it's offer and acceptance and consideration and it's multiple choice, that same law matches. So what my mind did, because I think like a mathematician and a scientist, when adaptive bar spit out or spat out the answers to whatever multiple choice questions I got wrong or right, I would read those answers and that's how I would write my essays.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I would take how they, and I would write these out as well. Like I told you, I'm a learner like this. So whatever I got wrong, I had a notebook of just all my wrong answers written out from adaptive bar. And those were my sentence statements. Is that what it's called? Sentence statements or
Yes.
rule statements. Those are my rule statements.
Yes.
And I would highlight what subject it was before the rule statement. So for example, my notebook, it would say like real property. And then it would say, I don't know, an easement is da 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 da. And then the next one will say contracts. Offer is da 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 da. And then the next one will say evidence. For evidence to be, I don't
Admissible,
know, admissible or yeah,
it
whatever,
must be
da,
relevant.
da, 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 whatever. Stuff like that. So that was my whole notebook. But those questions I never got wrong again because once I got them wrong, I knew the answer. And then once I saw it again, I would know whether it said is or is not. And that would change the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Once you see the questions and you know how to issue spot what we're looking for, then you know what you look for in the matching answer. And if it matches or if it feels too good or if it looks too right, it's probably the answer because it's the same word. That's how I worked. And if it wasn't, or if it was something that was a little off, then that's probably what they want. They don't want you to catch, and that's how I got through it. So that's why she was saying that doing the essays was a little easier when you get your multiple choice together because it's the same law.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly. So, I mean, I guess they do help us out in that way. It would be nice if they would at
That was
least give us
tremendous
a
for me
hint.
because I'm thinking I have to think of not only federal law but also Georgia law, which is different sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah, I could imagine how difficult that was, though.
a pain in the ass, girl.
Mm. Cause I considered taking the Georgia attorney's exam since I qualify for it now, but I don't know.
Okay, may I ask you a question?
Sure.
Did you have anything that happened during your exam that was a distraction, like in the testing facility? Because we definitely did.
Yes, the first time I took it, my table mate was somebody who liked to shake and tap and wiggle
Mhm.
their feet and tap their pencil on the desk with no regard for how that would disturb their neighbors.
Okay, I'll one up you. During our exam, this girl broke the chair. Was sitting in it, it broke, like gave out, broke,
I don't mean no harm, but like, was she large or?
very, yeah. So that happened. And then another time when I took it, there was a bathroom break that people were, or a lunch break. It was some type of break that we were gone for. And about 75 people left out of the testing area, like the actual doors beyond it. And they were almost disqualified from the exam. they were given the wrong directions. It was like 75 people, test takers. It was a big scandal. There was another time where the list went out people who failed the exam, or the list went out people who passed the exam. People's names weren't on there. That was the wrong list. Some people's names have been left off, unfortunately. They had passed the exam. And at the point where they had found out that they did pass the exam, they had taken the exam again. Those are three of the times.
Emotional distress. Hello.
We didn't have any scandals in Maryland. It was straightforward. The first time I took the exam in Maryland, it was definitely home test. Open book, still failed it because if you don't know the information in open book, it still can't help you. You don't even know where to look because you don't know it.
Exactly. Literally, you don't know what you don't know.
First time was at home. The second time was at the facility, and that's the time when I walked out like, I'm going to get me some ice cream. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
What did I do after that exam? Oh, actually, I went to the mall. I went straight to the mall and I'm just like, I'm proud of myself. I'm treating myself to a pair of AirPods. And I
Okay.
mean, I guess I was right to be proud of myself because I did at least get a passing UBE score that time.
Yeah.
But
Excuse me.
it was the delusion for me. I'm just like, you know what? This feels this feels a little different. This feels better than those first two times. So I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm proud of myself and I'm gonna treat myself. Although I still continue to take the damn exam after that. But you know,
Now, the second time I took it, yeah, I was so excited because I felt good. Like when I walked, I'm like, yeah, I finished. Because the second day of the exam is the multiple choice questions, and so once I walked out of that feeling confident, I was like, oh yeah, I got this. Bring me my results, please. Thank you.
see, I was real confident the second time I took it because there was this random ass civil procedure question and so I use smart bar prep outlines and
Okay,
basically
I'm
they
familiar.
yeah, so for
I
those
have
of you who aren't familiar, they compile all the tested rules and they give them like a high, medium, and low ranking. And so that kind of helped me figure out what I needed to focus my attention on. So I primarily focused on all of the high probability areas. And then, weaved it down for the medium. And I very lightly, studied what was deemed a low, priority. But
Mm-hmm.
sanctions. It was a civil procedure question. And I remember getting those results and I'm just like, holy shit. I knew that. That was one of the highest essays I had gotten in any administration that I even sat for. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I at least know something. But
You knew a lot. You knew a lot.
I
Also,
did.
abolish the bar exam, please. We don't even need that. Stop.
Ooh.
Everyone should be an attorney. It shouldn't matter. You know why the bar exam was even invented, right?
Yeah, because people who look like you and I started going to law school and becoming attorneys.
Shout out to Thurgood Marshall.
Mm,
Shout out to our alma maters.
period.
We both went to the Lincoln University of Pennsylvania as well as Howard University School of Law. So
The laws are very gatekeepy. The legal profession is very gatekeepy, and it's not built for people who look like you and I.
it wasn't built for, yeah.
I mean,
We changing that now.
yeah. It was built to kind of keep us oppressed in many ways.
Hmm.
And it's just like,
I'm coming out. I'm coming.
shit. There's a reason why there are only 5% of Black attorneys.
It's super hard. It's super, super hard. For a lot of people, getting past undergrad is a big feat, and so just staying focused enough to take the LSAT twice, as both of us, you took it twice, right?
Once.
Oh, well, as I experienced, and then taking the bar multiple times just to reach that. It's like so much happens in people's lives. I mean, death, babies, different life circumstances, work circumstances change, affordability as far as like, or opportunity, the lack thereof of opportunity. You just never know. And so I just feel like for me personally, I just know that my journey and my steps were definitely ordered way before I got here. A lot of people who have helped me along the way who I don't even talk to anymore or like not associated with anymore, it was by the grace of God that we even met for that time period for me to be where I am now. So honestly, you just have to, I don't know, take it for what it is and just be grateful that we made it this far, honestly, because I definitely have family to help me. A lot of people don't have family to help them. Um, I have resources. A lot of people don't even know to look for these type of resources. So yeah, I mean, that's just kind of where we are now. And just if it's something, and so when people always ask, like, should I go to law school or what do you think about this? I always tell them, like, if you haven't thought about being an attorney since you were probably like 7 years old, if it's not like your heart's desire that you have to be an attorney,
If it's a money grab for you,
if it's just about the money for you, baby, please save your time and your money. This ain't for you.
and your sanity.
It's not for you. Mm-mm. If you just want to do this because you want to go to the, entertainment law, because that's what a lot of people, oh, I want to do this one. If you just want to do that to go to like the movie premieres and to be in the club and popping bottles and be with the artists,
This isn't for you.
and it's not even because of that, but when you're in the entertainment field, you don't want to be in the club with the artists popping the bottles. You're about business. You want your reputation to precede you. You want to be taken seriously, especially as a Black female. Like you don't want to be known as the girl that's gonna be like, oh yeah, that's my homegirl, but like she gonna spark up with us. Like, no, you're the attorney. You need to stay focused and you need to be professional. You need to set boundaries, as Elle said before. And so if that's what you're here for, or to go to the BET Awards, like you may get there, you may, but that shouldn't like be the focus. You should have goals for your career and not for the play of it. That's fun stuff too, but that's not the goal.
But it's the real work
It's,
that
it's like a perk to the work. Okay.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like people think of entertainment, media, art, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, oh, look, it's the glitz and the glam. And it's just like,
Hard
no,
work.
no.
The
It is
client, that's the
real
R&B
work.
client, and he's like, oh yeah, I need to LLC this company. I need to figure out my baby mama because we have a child together and she won't pay child support, but I already pay child support, so now you got to do child support law. And I have this DJ that's trying to sue me because he said I didn't do this in the contract. Oh yeah, and I have wrote for this other person and they didn't pay me, but I think they still using my lyrics, so we got to go through IP law. This is one person.
Mm-hmm. And
Don't let
God
you have
forbid they a
divorce.
criminal.
Don't let you have one of your clients say they're calling because they're having a divorce, or somebody that got caught up with a little something with the police. Oh, I've had a lot of situations. That's why entertainment law, when you work with actual artists, totally different game. It's a everything law. You're just working with entertainers. It's not actually entertainment law. And you're not doing all of the law, guys. You're just reaching out to your colleagues, your peers who you know do criminal law, who you know may do child support family law, who you know may do IP law if you don't do IP law, who you know may do litigation if you're not a litigator and you don't know how to handle yourself in court. You reach out to those people and you partner with them on the case so that you, one, learn a little more, and you, two, you don't lose your client, dummy. That's why it's better to work together. You know what I mean?
If only we could get that through our heads and get out of this crab in a barrel. I know what worked for me, so let me keep it to the chest. No,
Mm-mm.
no. The only way we're gonna get out of this cycle, okay, we know the system was not built to advantage us in any way, shape, or form. We know, but what else?
What can
How
we do to each other?
Right, how can we help each other? And I think that's just, we gotta do a better job as a whole of looking out for each other. And again, to circle back to the whole point, that's why I wanted to do this.
Of
Like,
course.
we're, we are both living examples of no matter where you come from, no matter what circumstances, you know, no matter what part of life has happened to you, for you, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
we're okay.
Yeah, and you can definitely make it. Like, whew, I just feel like some people are more. I was talking to a mentee before, and she was saying how she was at this law school, and she wanted to, if she went to this law school, she would make these type of sacrifices, right? So, let's say her name was um,
Tamara. Mhm.
let's say her name was Tamara, right? So Tamara was like, yeah, I'm here, and I really want to do this, but if I was going to, if I went to Howard, I would definitely sell my car and just do this and this and that. And I was just like, well, why don't you make that sacrifice now? You're still in law school. You're just not at that law school. And she was like, oh, yeah, I guess I could still like do the sacrifice that you can do now if you need to make sacrifices to get what you need to get. Don't say that, oh, if I was doing this, I would do this. Do it now. Do it now. If you want to go to Howard University School of Law School, find out what the requirements are. Find out if they have an open house. Find out if you can meet somebody. Find out if you can talk to the dean. Before I was even in undergrad, I was talking to the cheer coach because I knew I wanted to be on the cheerleading team. Before I went to Howard Law, I was talking to the dean because I knew I wanted to be at Howard Law. Like, call and make yourself known. Like, let these people know that you're interested. Like, don't be scared to put yourself out there, especially when it's something that you want. You have to go get it for yourself. Because ain't nobody gonna do it for you, babe. We can help you, but we can't do it for you.
Mm-mm. No, there are no real shortcuts here. So figure out the best way to achieve your goal, but stop trying to shortcut.
You really have to just go through it. And that's definitely for the bar exam. Like, there are no shortcuts for the bar exam. You really have to go through the sweat, the pain, the tears to get to what you want. Something that people kept telling me, like, you really have to believe that you deserve this. Like, I really did not believe I deserved to be an attorney. Like, I'm just like, why would they let me be an attorney? Like, who I think I am? Like, yeah, I done did the schooling. I'm a good student. I can get A's. That ain't no problem. I've been doing this my whole life. I know how to study and write an exam, but I didn't feel like I deserved to be a lawyer. Like, I'm like, I didn't did this in my life, and I done came from this place, and da 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 da. Like, I just been faking the whole time. And it's like, you're not. You're actually that girl. You do
Period.
this.
Period.
You're that girl. Like, you are an attorney. Yes, you do. And once I actually start feeling that in my head, and I start calling myself that before I was even had my results, like, I was already saying, like, yeah, Dr. Thomas and Esquire and all of that stuff. I believed it, and then it became true. That's that manifestation that they be talking about.
And when you think the other way, self-fulfilling prophecy. I ain't no social worker, no therapist, none of that. But a
No, but that's
self-fulfilling
real.
prophecy is real.
Yeah, because it's like that's your self confidence. That's what you think about yourself, and if you think about about yourself, that's what the universe is going to bring you.
hmm Yeah. And that was that mindset shift of, oh, I'm a failure to, all right, I ain't passed, but here's how I won.
Mhm.
That was one of the main game changers for me. And even still, imposter syndrome still tries to come and rear its little bald-headed self.
Yeah.
But like, I just try to focus and I try to teach everybody else to focus. Like, uh, clearly, you're good enough if you got the job, especially if you look like you and I. Clearly, there's something about you that is good enough, that is minimally competent to be in this seat.
So yeah, I definitely agree. When I was in law school, I was in a lot of organizations. Like, I did a lot of student activities. I was the president of our child advocacy team, which I took to Chicago twice for the National Bar Association competition. Thank you, thank you. I joined a sorority, Epsilon Sigma Iota Sorority Incorporated, which was founded on Howard University School of Law's campus. I sat on the executive board for IPSA, which is, like I said before, the Intellectual Property Students Association. Um, I did a lot of things, and so it was like I didn't think that I didn't have the skills to be an attorney. Like, I knew I could be an attorney. I had already won. Like, I had got a ticket in DC one time, and I beat the case because I fought the case for myself. Like, I feel like I have the skills to do it. It was just, I don't know, like you said, imposter syndrome. But definitely got to get over that. Like, you can't let that hold you back. Whoever's watching and who's thinking that or who's feeling that way, just get over that because you deserve it. You put the work in all of this time, undergrad and law school. You at the last. the last mile of the race. This the last part of it. Just got to get over
Mhm.
that hump.
Yep, and it's not about what happened on what is forget don't forget, but, like, cry, but
How you
continue.
started, yeah, it's how you finish.
Mhm, exactly. Ooh, I like that.
Mhm.
It's not about where you started, it's about how you finish. So, again, cry, but continue. Don't just cry and sit in it. Learn.
Mhm.
This is either going to be a loss for you or a lesson, and it wasn't until we were able to frame it more as a lesson and use that as motivation as opposed to being discouraged.
Right.
That is that's a game changer.
Right.
Okay, was there any other questions I had?
Let me know.
No, I think we hit them all. Any final words?
Um. you-
Your top tip for someone who is about to retake the exam, maybe for the second, the third, the fourth time.
So when is this going to air, in June?
Yes.
So if you're about to take the exam, you probably have 2 weeks left. At this point, I would just recommend for you to do practice exams and review those questions, especially the multiple choice. If you're doing UBE, you can use, like I said before, those same rule statements for your essays, and that will make it easier to remember and to just transcribe or transfer over. Get your rest. You definitely need rest, and you just build your confidence. Walk around listening to Meg if you need to, whatever make you feel like you're that girl, you're that bitch, you're that woman, you're that man, you're that baddie, you're that attorney, you're that lawyer, you're that esquire. Whatever
Period.
makes you feel that way, turn it on. Kirk Franklin, Lil Uzi, Kodak Black, Beyonce, Cowboy Carter, wherever we going with it, Adele, turn it on. Just do that, okay? Build your confidence up. Make sure that you're ready. Don't have any distractions. Make sure that you are in the mindset of being Esquire. Definitely sending all of my good wishes. Congratulations. Good luck. Pray about it. Know it. And y'all got this. If
Yes.
y'all want to contact me, I don't know what to give y'all to contact me because I'm not giving y'all my Instagram.
I was gonna say maybe email?
Yeah, I'll have her put my email at the bottom of this. It'll pop up. And so y'all can email me with any questions and then I'll decide if I want to screen calls or whatever. But if you are, yeah, just relax. It's gonna be okay. Even if you don't pass it this time, hopefully that's not for you. But that just means that this wasn't your portion and you're gonna get it next time. As me, a 6-time test taker, I'm letting you know you're gonna work it out. It's gonna be
It is
okay.
possible.
Yes, it's possible. Thank y'all for listening.
Yes, and
And thank you for having me.
thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for bearing with my technical difficulties.
Of course. Of course.
Thank you so, so, so much. This was amazing, and I will have where you guys can contact Che in either on the screen, in the description bar, both,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Either way, you'll be able to get in contact and get a load of this amazing lady.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys.